Alright, y'all, I got the new pulley on. I'm not even going to show you how to do the job because, let me just say this. If somebody is like, hey, I got a Murray 30-inch cut, it needs a transaxle pulley, or it's got something wrong with the transaxle, just part it out. This thing is just way too nice for me to part out, but like you have to get the spring right, then you have to get like a bracket right up in there, and it's just way too much for me to want to even try to show you. This thing right here takes forever to start. I've got everything back on it. All I want to do is, for y'all's pleasure and sake, see it run and drive. So let's see if I can get this thing started. Personally, I think it's low on compression because it had low oil in it. So I'm just going to crank on this thing. Whenever I get it running, we'll see if it moves. How about that? So I think I might have found the culprit. Don't quote me. But the coil leads right here are mighty oily. There's a lot of oily residue on them. I think part of the top of the motor's leaking. As you can kind of see, there's a little bit of oily residue on the coil there. So what I'm going to do is just clean that off with a wire brush, put it back, gap it correctly, and see if we get it to run a lot better, or any better, or if at all. I finally got it. Let's see if we got any movement. Holy moly, I did not mean to do that. I have no brakes at all. None whatsoever. Oh man, that was scary. And the kill wire didn't work for the switch. Oh, that was scary. Holy moly. Hey, it drives though. Good Lord. Oh my. Alright, I didn't damage anything, thankfully. I don't stage this stuff, guys. That was totally not what this was supposed to do here. Oh man, I am locked right now. Oh man. Alright. It is locked. I don't know what it's done. Did I forget to hook something back up? Well, the brake got locked. That's what happened. Oh, that was scary. Oh. No damage done, thankfully. Just enjoyed a nice little bump up with the probably should have checked if I had brakes before I cranked it, but we're gonna go a different way now. Let me back this thing up. Now I got brakes. The brakes had locked on me. That was the problem. Let's see if I can get it cranked back up. We're going up the driveway this time. That way I can stop it if I need to. Let me see. Going down, hit the brakes. Alright. Alright, we're in neutral. Park brake is down. Oh man, alright, let's try this again. Oh, let's do that. Maybe not. Alright, so I have, seems like it's like the transaxle gets locked on me. Can't get it. It's like it gets locked. It's literally like it gets locked into gear almost. Like it's hard to describe otherwise. But it is driving at least, I know that. Literally like it gets locked into gear. I'm going to do a little bit more investigating. I'll let y'all know what I find out here in a minute. Like I said. I wonder if I can lock it into reverse. Interesting. So it's driving. We're getting there. But let me keep working and I'll let y'all know what I find. Alright, so I had a perfect storm, so to speak, just a minute ago. I didn't have a kill wire set up, and I didn't have my rod that threw the brake on, and that took the tension off of the pulley in place. So it would not, there was no way of stopping it. It's like a train that, it's like a train that just keeps on rolling that you can't stop. So, alright. Blades down. If I can put the park brake on. Park brake is very finicky. I'll tell you what, we'll just do this then. We're in neutral. Seems like we're shifting okay. Alright, let's try this again. That's much better. Woo! Stop. Reverse. Oh yeah. I just gotta get it to where it'll start better. That thing brakes like a champ. Wow. They can pop wheelies too, look. fifth. Brake. There she is. Cool. Alright, so all that toil and trouble, the transaxle is fixed, which is awesome. Now, basically the next order of business, I gotta get the deck on it. I've got to put a tire tube in the right rear. Well, I might have to put a tube in any of them. Let's see. Yeah, I might have to put them in both. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. I think I got to put one in the right rear, but apart from that, I think we're gonna be all right with this thing. Oh man, don't ever do this job. But well, it wasn't too bad, but it took me all afternoon and a lot of toil and trouble. You gotta like pull the spring back, and you gotta like wiggle the pulley back up on there. I'm not even gonna show you the procedure because I don't even recommend that you do it. So, but she's rolling again. About $11, $12 of a pulley, and 20 or maybe about 4 hours of time working on it, which, you know, in the backyard is not too bad. Whenever I'm trying to crank out stuff, I like to get it done quicker than that. This thing is cold-blooded, I tell you. It is a bear to start on cold starts, and I don't know if it's because of this spring right here for the governor. I don't know if that governor spring's broken on it, and I need to stretch it out some or what, but that might have something to do with it. I got another one of these, so I might swap it out and see if that makes it any better to run. But I'm out of time today, so I'm gonna have to do this another day. I'll pick back up on it as soon as I can. Alright, so now that we've got the transaxle right, now I want to try and get it running right, because it's not running right now. It is way too hard to start. So what I'm going to do, just get this out of the way. I'm just trying to basically dig myself out of the garage at this point. What I think I've got to do to it, it seems like the intake gasket's not closing all the way, because it seems like it's flooding it. Because what it does, y'all heard it in part 1 of the video, but what it does is whenever I hit the switch, get it choked, or I can turn it all day, it won't fire. It won't fire without a park brake on either. So there we go. That's what it mostly does most of the time. You pull it on choke. You pull it on choke and it won't. It'll try to go, and then it won't. And then it won't fire. So I'm wondering, I've already got most of the carb off. I almost want to break into that, but at the same time, I know it's old and I don't want to mess up any gaskets or anything on it. Although I do have a new carburetor here if I need it. I'd hate to have to use it, but because I don't think it's a compression issue, because it runs great when it runs, and it never bogs down or anything like that, like it's running low on compression. So that's what kind of baffles me a little bit. And I see all the fuel and everything coming up. I tried adjusting the fuel air mix, and that didn't really do anything. I might try adjusting a little bit more before I take it off of the engine here. It won't be terrible to take this thing off, truthfully, so I might do that just to see inside. I might have a little bit of gunk build up that's causing some issues with it running. But we shall see. If I look in the carburetor, I might even try putting a new one on there just to see what happens. And if neither of those work, I'll break into the head and see if we can get that. Alrighty, y'all, we're making improvements. I went ahead and put the deck and everything back on just so that it's ready to go whenever I finish this thing. And so it's complete. Again, I didn't show you all the whole transaxle deal because it was just overly complicated with all the brackets and whatnot, and I feel like I could not have done a detailed version of what I needed to tell y'all in order to fix it, because you have to take basically everything off, and it's extremely difficult to film and all that stuff. So that's the reason behind that. My best recommendation, if you want to try one of these, is take pictures and then remember exactly how you took everything off and see if that's, you know, the way that you need to do it to put everything back on. Anyways, let me show you what I did. I put in the engine here for the carburetor. Like I said, it seemed like it almost seemed like it was a little low on compression, but it ran great when it ran, and it didn't really bog down. Now, what I determined was, I tried adjusting the governor, and it didn't. The governor's perfect. So what I ended up doing is just bending this throttle linkage a little bit and put this little bend in it. Now, I mean, it's not factory. Well, I would think it's not factory, because this one has a little bit of a bend to it as well, and this is a 12 horse or overhead valve, so it didn't fit. I was originally going to swap these out to see if that would work, but it's almost like it wasn't getting enough throttle. I don't have a spring that would work on this, so what I did is I kind of fashioned it to work as best as it can. I'm probably going to work on that governor, the link right there, a little bit. But I can at least show you this. Hopefully it'll turn on. So I don't have any choke. This thing was hard to start. It still might be. But with choke on, it would kick over. But as soon as you hit throttle, it wouldn't get enough momentum to keep going. So let me see. Again, here's my throttle position. And let's see if it cranks on me. Let me throw a little more choke on. A lot better now. Run a little bit faster. And let me show you when I turn the blades on what it does. It's still a little temperamental, but it's cranking a lot better. Seems like it's starting a lot better, but it still wants to kind of mess up a little bit. So I think I'm gonna kind of shorten this a little bit more to see if that fixes that issue. But I think it's something with the governor linkage and all that on it still. But let me show you. It wouldn't drive because this is the drive wheel, and obviously it's spinning on the tire. So I thought I had a trans issue, but that's not the case. Still won't. So it's idling down perfectly. Everything seems a whole lot better than it was, which is a good thing. I'm going to put a tire tube in this, that way we can drive it around. But what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and put all the engine covers and stuff back on and just do a cold start tomorrow morning and see how it does. I want to go ahead and change the oil in it as well, because the oil seems super clean, but it seems, I don't know if it's thin or if I'll just have to check it, because either way I've got a little bit of, I want to put some Teflon tape right here, because I've got a little bit of an oil leak right there as it is. I don't know if it's, I feel like it's coming off of either right up here or right down here, so it won't hurt to do an oil change on it. And as far as I know, the deck's level. I'll probably do a little bit of test mowing and stuff on it. I think this might have had the bigger Murray emblems on it at one time, but obviously it has since been taken off. So I'm gonna pop a tire tube in it, and like I said, I think we'll go ahead and put the covers and stuff back on it, change the oil in it, and see if we have a good one. I hope so, because the Transax is working great on it, which is awesome. And I'll probably test cut with it before I sell it off, and catch up with y'all once I get to that point. Alrighty, so it's the next morning. I'm going to see how easily this thing is started, because it's had a good 12 plus hours to sit. So hopefully it'll start much easier than it has been. If it does, I'll go ahead and list it for sale. Because like I said, everything else about it works great on it though. It's cutting good, runs good once you get it started. So let's see what we can do here. Just checking the oil. I will have to add a little oil to it, but it's clean otherwise. All right. It's trying easier, I know that. It's still hard to start, as you can see, but RPM wise it's running great. I just don't know what it's, I mean, the motor's old, so you know it might be doing that. I might give it an oil change and see if that helps it, or at least add a little bit more oil to it. But let's see. Idles down great. It's, in all honesty, this thing is puzzling. I have not taken the head off of it yet. However, if I had a compression issue, I would think that this thing would be losing compression over the course of time, not be easier to start, if you know what I mean. So that's what puzzles me. I don't know if there are anybody that has any ideas what it might be, what it might have been, so to speak, because this mower will probably be gone by the time I post this video. But I don't think it'd be anything with the governor or the throttle linkages, would y'all? I don't think so. I tried to shorten it up a little bit just to see just to make it, because it didn't seem like it was running as fast as I needed it to. But it did, like I said, it sat for about 12 hours, and it did start a lot easier than it has been. And that's just smoke from down there. So, and the governor's not, and the throttle linkage and the governor are not binding up or anything. So, and the spring is good. So, like I said, it seems like it will start, once you get it warmed up, it starts great. Have to give it a little choke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit for the morning, and I'm just going to, the oil is cleaning up, I'm going to add some oil to it to see if it'll get some better compression. I'm toying with the idea of putting in some of that engine restore on it. Like I said, I don't know, if that's something that I kind of want to do to it or not. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. I'm going to let it sit for a little bit longer, like sit for the morning, and crank it up maybe in about 4 or 5 hours. I'll check back with y'all, see if I can get this thing to where it will actually run for me, to where it'll start easier. I'm still puzzled with why it's not starting. I just figured that the motor's a little wore out, just because it's old, truthfully, because it's almost 30 years old. I don't really have another option unless I decide to pull off the head, which I might do, because this mower is worth it for me to do that, especially after I've done all the transaxle work and stuff to it. So let me fill the oil up, see if that helps matters any, and then I'll we'll check back in a few hours on it. Alright, y'all, so here's how the story of the Murray ends with the snapper. The guy that I got that Murray from ended up trading this back for that mower. He knows, despite all the deals and whatnot going on with it being really, really hard to start, he's very familiar with the issues and whatnot. And I pretty much charged him for the repair of the transmission, because he loved that mower. He said it rode a whole lot better than the snapper and all that. But what he did, it's kind of a nice little favor for me, is he actually painted the thing and made it look really, really good, and which is a good thing, because it helps with the resale. The problem with this is, and y'all saw it in the snapper video as well, the governor's out on it. I've tried adjusting the governor and everything, and I've confirmed since I got it back in that the governor is bad on it. So I have it listed for $150. I figured it's worth that to somebody, and I'm going to sell this one back off. Note with the known governor issue. Runs and cuts all right, though. I can show you real quick. It's just, I got it to where it's not racing anymore, which is good, but see, it's just not enough, really not a lot of power when cutting the grass. that's always a little finicky, but it's kind of a shame because it'll pick up. There you go. So that's kind of the current, or that's kind of the situation with this one. It looks like the choke arm fell off of it too in some form or fashion, so I've got to put that back on. But anyways, that's kind of the situation with it, and that's why I got this back from him. Because it run and cut fine, but it was racing, and I knocked it down a little bit. So it kind of stinks because the mower itself is probably not worth more than about $250, even with it being fixed, and it's just not worth going in there and hitting the governor and all that good stuff on a mower, on an engine that's 30 plus years old, almost 40, at least in my world, and in a lot of people's world it is, but just not in my world. So I appreciate y'all watching. This is kind of how it ended, but the big deal was getting that transaxle on. So I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. We'll do another one of them mower projects out there in the back. See y'all next time.